níbi àríyá tàbí lóde ayẹyẹ gbogbo nílé afẹ́ ò tàbí níbikíbi. Bóyá 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 ò kẹ́gbọ́n mi sweet heart fruit ń gbẹ́lẹ́ yìí dé o ó táwọn yọ.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the rich taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Heart Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ kàn sí Sweet Heart Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálẹ́rà fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social media platforms at Sweet Heart Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Heart Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Heart Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
Gentlemen, and welcome to our second show, Enough is Enough, SORO SOKE, hosted by your host, myself, Mr. FEMI OKE, and sponsored by Better Nigeria. This show is dedicated to debate and discussion centered on making a better Nigeria for all of us. Tonight's show is another interesting topic. It's called Demanding Something for Nothing Equals Nothing. So you must pay your taxes. My guest to debate this topic today is my very good friend and Mr. ADEOYE OBANLEOWO. Welcome to
good to have me, and to all our viewers, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching us from.
Fantastic. So, as you know, there's so many problems bedeviling Nigeria at the moment, from insecurity, poverty, hunger, unemployment, lack of infrastructure, nepotism, marginalization, all manner of things, border incursions, Fulani herdsmen, separation, you know, you name it, a host of problems. But I want to say that all those problems stem from the fact that the economy of Nigeria is in the doldrums at the moment. We've had COVID-19, another recession. Everything is not really looking too rosy for most Nigerians. And yet today, we're calling to say that despite that, you have to pay your taxes. I know very well that you have to pay your taxes. Here in the UK, we have to pay our taxes. Just recently, everybody, 31st of January, is known as self-assessment time. Everyone does their self-assessments. I had a massive tax bill I have to pay. Everybody has to pay. And there's no escaping it here in the UK. However, in Nigeria, everybody, well, I'll say 95% of Nigerians are escaping that. And that is a problem, isn't it, Moba?
Absolutely. I agree with you, Femi. I think the problem we have with the tax system in Nigeria is a lot of people always come up with this connotation that why should I pay taxes when there's absolutely nothing the government is actually doing, you know? And I say, if you refuse to pay taxes, then don't expect much from the government anyway. So my advice to people, especially in Nigeria, where we always automatically assume that it's the responsibility of the government to take care of everything without paying our own fair share of taxes, you know, it doesn't actually work like that. But then again, you now have to look at it from this dimension, that do we actually have a system in Nigeria that is actually fit for purpose? You know, when you don't, when you've created a room for laxity in the way in which you conduct the affairs of government, then people are bound to be resentful, even though, you know, as you rightly said, it's not an excuse for people to now say, look, you know, the government is not doing anything, so we don't want to pay. The only people who are actually, you know, actually paying their fair share of taxes are those who are actually, you know,
Pay as you earn.
Pay as you earn,
Government workers,
government workers and all that.
the ones working.
Those are the ones who automatically, you know, civil servants and the people who work in ministries, you know,
So
automatically they get this.
so now we can see the problem here. So if the only people that are really paying, well, the main people paying taxes are either the government workers, so the civil servants, they get paid, their taxes get deducted at source, or if you work for the conglomerates or any of the big formal sectors, you know, like your Nestle's, your Cadbury's and Dangote's and whoever, there, if you're working for any of those, you'll be paying your taxes, I take it. So,
absolutely,
and if you work for the state government or you work for the local government. So a nation that does not collect taxes, it can't grow, can it? So it's no wonder Nigeria is not growing, is it? Well, you shouldn't be complaining, really.
Femi, you see, when we look at the issue of taxes in Nigeria, you know, you have to look at the systemic failure. And when I say systemic failure, it just buttress to what I said earlier. How many people are actually on the database that the government is fully aware of? You see, in this system, from the time you turn 16, you get your national insurance number. So I think you're exempted while you're still studying. But by the time you start meaningful employment, by the time you now say to authorities that, look, this is who I am, I'm being employed by a so organization, or I'm self-employed, the government expects you to be able to do what is needful, and that is make sure that if you're self-employed, you know, the company that is that you work for, or I mean, because there's some people who, you know, even though you're working for them, you know, you can work for them in the capacity of either self-employment, whether you have what we call a UTR number, or you have your national insurance number. So, but these things are not in the making. They're not in the pipeline in Nigeria. And when you leave things, when you create a situation where all these things are not in place, then automatically what you're saying to people is, look, we don't have these things in place, so you cannot really, so people cannot really complain if, you know, the government are not enough.
So let's look at that properly. It's not that, you see, the thing is, what really baffles me a lot with Nigeria is that Nigeria was colonized by the British.
Absolutely,
okay? British have been collecting tax for donkey's years. And I think that when I look at when we look at the complex of Nigeria and Africa in general, and the fact that they don't pay taxes, is it a kind of legacy of colonialism in a way? Because if you think about it, when the colonialists ruled us, I don't know if you heard of the Adubi Wars, you heard of Abba women's riots, protests and so on. What were they protesting? They were protesting the unfair taxes and levies by the British, who were there, the colonizers, the occupiers. So paying taxes was like something we don't want to do. You understand? Especially when, again, the Brits were collecting these taxes and delivering no service, because those taxes were being done in order to enable them to withdraw our resources back to the motherland. That was all the taxes were for them to be able to do governance and do the minimal services for us and take all the loot out. Just like how the government is taking all the oil, taking all the resources.
Even having said that, Femi, which I fully agree. You know,
I mean that legacy has to stop. That needs to change.
It has to change. But what has actually happened in Nigeria since independence?
Yeah, that's the question.
You see, you've had 60 years to correct the abnormalities in Nigeria. And, you know, going by your connotations now, that, okay, you know, this is how it was done, you know, the British came here, they are the ones that colonized us. But, you know, the taxes being imposed on the citizens of Nigeria were just, you know, too exorbitant. Now, since 1960, when we got independence from the British, how have we been able to manage our own affairs?
Yeah, but you know that the problem in Nigeria is that whether it was the British, whether it's the military, whether it's the civilian, the government is almost like the enemy. They're not seen as a friend, they're almost the enemy. So they're not actually doing anything for anybody. Now, the thing is, what we're talking about again is that we came from that colonial legacy, and I would have thought that we would have learned something from the British, because after all, it was not in the Britain that they had the social services came up in the 1940s, the National Health Service. From the National Health Service came the National Insurance Number. So we were under colonial rule when they had National Insurance Number. Why is it that we didn't adopt that same National Insurance Number for ourselves? Could it also got to do with the way in which data collection and census and knowing the number of Nigerians is a problem in Nigeria? That's become a very touchy issue. So having National Insurance Number has a reflection on the number of people within your area. Could that be a reason why data collection has been a problem in Nigeria? Hence, collecting data for people to be able to collect taxes is become a no-show.
You see, I mean, if I look at the sequence of events back in Nigeria, I think the problem we have is data collection and numbering system. I mean, where I grew up in Nigeria, I grew up in Ibadan, living in with my late grandparents, and sometimes you look at the way the numbering system is done, and it is very, very difficult for anybody in the right frame of mind to be able to say, look, this is how a normal system should operate. You see, the reason why we got it so badly wrong is because the system is meant to be in place to take care of all these things, sensors, even from the time of birth. The moment you have a child, there should be an effective system whereby proper records are being done. So
are we to blame the British for not having a proper data register of birth? It couldn't be that our stinkingly corrupt politicians. It's their fault that they don't want us to be able to have a comprehensive list of data of births, because that will then show the true reflection of the number of people born and hence the population in each local government in each state, which maybe they're trying to drive against.
You see, you have to look back and look at it from a different perspective. That even before Nigeria descended into this particular stage, things weren't this bad in Nigeria. Look at the times of from the time of the Tafawa Balewa's.
In the times of the Tafawa Balewa's, where was the system for registering births then? There wasn't one then.
There wasn't one then, but if you look at it, the reason why there wasn't one then was because we failed to implement these things, which should have been in place.
Why didn't we register in Western region? Why didn't our laws government do that and have a system in place?
From the moment we had independence, we did not obtain independence from the United Kingdom, for everybody to have their own different way of doing things. We wanted to.
That was the sense of the regional government system. That was the independence constitution, and the constitution that came into force in 1963 gave a lot of power to the regions. In fact, the regions even had not embassies, but consulate offices in the UK. I think not far from Central London. I remember where the Western Region office was.
Yeah, somewhere in is it the one in is it Chancery Lane?
Not far from there. Yeah, not Chancery Lane. No. It's actually more West Endy.
Okay. Yeah. Right, okay. You see, I mean, just to buttress your point, Femi, the thing is, we cannot keep going back to the colonial days. Look, we have to look at ourselves and say, look, nobody forced independence on us. We decided that we wanted to be an independent. We wanted to be a sovereign nation. We wanted to take care of our affairs. So when you decide that okay, this is how we want to manage our affairs, then you have to make sure that all these things are actually in place to make the lives of your citizens better for them. So which means in terms of birth registration, death certification, and all this kind of thing, just basic information which will be available.
What I'm trying to say to suggest to you is that many people, some people even put forward the notion that we were better during the times of colonialism. I mean, which is just a major fallacy as far as I'm concerned, because I believe that the governance that the British, they said, they gave us railway. Beyond the railway, what did they deliver? Did they deliver education? Did they deliver health? Did they deliver roads? What did they actually deliver for Nigeria as a nation? What kind of civil service did they deliver? This data collection that you're talking about, and basic information gathering, basic data, which they could have put in place. They didn't put it in place. So when we now took ourselves over and thought we could rule ourselves, we didn't even do it ourselves. We didn't do it regionally. Hold on, just a minute. We didn't do it in the regions. Forget about federal. We didn't do it in the federal. We didn't do it in the regions, and we didn't do it in the local. And then the military, the khaki boys came in, and soldier come, soldier go. It became chaos.
It became chaos,
So the foundation, and this is another thing where the people talk about separation and all these kind of things, disillusion, were based on a faulty foundation. But whether that
so
foundation...
do we not blame the British for our own misfortunes?
Exactly not. I don't agree with that either. We've had enough time, as you said, 60 years to solve this problem. So within 60 years, we haven't solved that. So let's look at that. You mentioned national insurance number. And you know here in the UK, we have national insurance number. For those of you who don't know what national insurance number is, an identification number which is used for collecting taxes and for you to pay your national insurance contributions, which is like social, helps you with pensions and whatnot. Now in America they have what they call the green card.
The green card.
Okay.
And social security
number. That the two together. So your social security number is like a national insurance number. And here in Nigeria, they have something which is NIN, which you're having it now. And look at the debacle about the NIN, because in Nigeria you have to have NIN, you have to have BVN, you have to have all these different numbers, you have to have PVC, all of them taking different biometrics. Are they harmonized? Are they unified? I mean, you know.
I mean, Femi, you see, I mean, with this, I mean, the letter one, which is, you know, more or less, you know, what we call national insurance in the United Kingdom. I think it's, I mean, it came too late. You see, because now the government has mandated everybody to make sure that, you know, there's a policy in place now to make sure that everybody has their own personal what's it called? National NI number.
National identity
number. That is crucial for any serious-minded government. But that is crucial. You see, because with your NIN number, you know, it gives you a sense of belonging in that country. It gives you a platform to say, look, here is who I am, and I'm a citizen of this country.
Okay.
Because from that, you know, it shows that okay, you are legitimate, and they can trace your records. Okay, this is who this person is. This person is male or female. You know, this person hails from Ondo State or whatever. You know, you see, it has all your records.
But if you have an NIN number, and if it's not automatically linked into what they call a TIN, which is a tax identification number. I mean, it's almost like a duplication of things, isn't it? Over here you have one number that does, you know, with your NIN number, that's your identity number and your tax, for tax purposes and for pension. So, and social security as well. Would it not have been better for Nigeria to harmonize into a single number than to have a TIN number, a BVN number, a blah 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 number, a driving license number, blah blah blah. I mean, I can understand having a driving license number. I can understand we have separate driving license numbers here. But if your TIN is not linked to your national ID number, it's not going to help with the collection of taxes, is it?
You see, whichever way the government want to, whichever device they want to use to make sure that my own submission here, or what I just believe should be a normal way of doing things. I don't know why they've come up with two or different, you know, but let me just clarify one thing. With the BVN, I think that is actually, you know, in respect of bank accounts only. So which means if you have an account with UBA, automatically with your BVN number, you know, it can cut across through other accounts you have. So which means, you know, if I say to people that I'm ADEOYE OBANLEOWO, my BVN number will know if I have any other accounts with different banks. So that could be linked together. I think that is to curtail fraud. Okay.
But is it also not a tool that could be used for tax purposes? Because if you've got people's access to people's bank details and they know that they're making so much money and they're not remitting any tax, automatically the alarm bells should be ringing there. The alarm bells should go that this guy hasn't got I think there's also a system now where they're trying to automate that when you have a BVN number, it's synchronized with a TIN number. I think it should be automatic now, that if you have a BVN number, you get automatically a TIN number. And I think that now, I'm not sure we need to get clarification.
I think it should be treated as two separate entities for me.
Well, I mean,
you know,
just a moment. If you want to call into the show, the telephone number is +44 791 809 952 or +44 203 774 7220. It might be important to find out, because to me, that if you can have a situation where your NIN number is synchronized with a TIN number, that's going to be the way forward. Because as soon, and the only reason why they're doing it, and you know, a lot of the government's detractors are not happy about this NIN number. They're saying, why are they doing the NIN number now? We've got COVID and stuff. We've got all these problems. People are not social distancing. They're being forced to queue up to get the
federal government came out last week to say, look, you know, we can understand the concerns of you know, people, you know, in view of what is actually happening across the world, but
I think they've extended.
Yeah, they've extended. Now. So they've now said, look, a lot of people are actually, you know, welcome to apply online. So
I'm not sure if that's legitimate, because I've seen people saying that online service is a fraud.
Yeah, it's because, well, the problem is, it still boils down to what I said earlier, Femi. You know, when you have a system in place that is working, all these things, registration of NIM number or whatever, shouldn't actually be a problem. That is why you need an effective IT system that is working, you see? You know, so that it to make everything easier, you know, and by the time you finish your registration, that will go through a central body where they'll be able to collect all this information.
There are very few federal government or state government websites that really are working functionally in any case. So, you know, to say that there's an app, if there was an app, I mean, why not? Because they're doing it, apparently, one of the main reasons why they're doing it, and I think I have to give kudos to the government, is because of the security implications of people having phones, using phones to call for ransom and all whatnot. So monitoring ownership of phones and SIMs linked to identity is a way of curtailing crime or monitoring crime. So it is I see it as a good policy, but I think we should also link up the tax side of things, so that all these things are now harmonized, so that when you have your NIN number, you have a TIN number, automatically, which is linked to your bank account number, your BVN number, so that all these things are seamless, and the biometrics are the same, and if there's any contradiction, obviously it's raise a red flag. So now, when they have all this data now, and they collate it together, I think we ought to have a situation, like you said, like here in the UK, at birth, you can even issue the number.
Yes.
You could even issue these numbers at birth, or when someone gets the age of 16,
you know,
you get an automatic number.
The system, you know, the system be able to identify that, okay, this person has got to the age of 16, so automatically. But then again, the problem with this is we don't actually have, you know, a proper, you know, system in place to be able to say, look, even this person has got to the age of 16 or 18 or whatever, this is, you know, in terms of the numbering system, you know, the addresses, you know.
But then again, see, this is the thing I find really strange about Nigerians, is that on the one hand, they will complain that it's a unitary system and then a federal system and blah, blah, blah. We operate in a federal system, right? So if we operate in a federal system, we must then challenge what are our states doing. Because something like registering of births, registering of deaths, isn't that a responsibility for the local government?
That's the responsibility of the local government. But family, it still boils down to what I said earlier. You see, the local government, you know, you see, it should be saddled with certain responsibilities. You know, if I walk into my local authority here, which is Wanso Council where I was born, you know, I can easily pick up a form. If I've lost a copy of my birth certificate, within seconds it's printed out. But do we actually have a database whereby, you know, somebody born in a Abeokuta North local government, you know, where, you know, I come from, can, you know, willingly go in there to say, look, you know, I was born in 1966, I was born in 1960, you know, I need a copy of my birth certificate.
Yeah,
You know, the records are not there.
But look, I was at.
And it's all about records.
No, when I went to renew my passport, for
Yeah.
example, I don't know if you've ever been to any of these passport offices. I went to one near Festac.
Right. Okay.
If you see the holding rooms where they have mountains of passport files, the physical files almost falling out of the window, it's laughable.
That is
Do you
what I'm
understand?
saying, you know.
I mean, how are they going to...
This is 24th century
Yeah, how are
Nigeria.
they going to check the records of someone in one of those files? They're going to have to go in there, and it's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
So shouldn't all those items have been scanned by now? We're in 2021.
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be a service whereby all these old data, and you know what's happening? We've got rodents with Lassa fever everywhere.
Yeah.
Rodents are eating up all these files, so half these files are not even complete anyway.
They're not complete,
Go to any library. I mean, go to the National Library. It's not even complete. All the most important books in Nigeria, they're all rotting away in some temporary place in Abuja. I mean, what is going on?
Let me tell you something. You see, that is one thing, you know, I really appreciate about the system here. I mean, I don't know whether the office is still there. In Central Place in Holborn,
Yes.
where even people that were born in this country going back 300, you go in there, all you just need to do is go to the section and the year you were born, and you open the date, the months, and the year of birth. You know, going back 200, 300 years. But look, these are the kind of things, even though a lot of people might be saying, oh, Nigeria, we only got independence 60 years. How can I compare that to,
it goes back to those who were saying that the Brits were lovely and they were wonderful.
Yeah.
If they had a system, as you're saying, which is going back 300, 500 years, where you've got register, but why did they not put that in place in Nigeria on their exit?
Femi, you see,
And why didn't we embrace it on their exit?
You see, I mean, let's get one thing clear. You see, we cannot just always automatically assume that, you know, these people have to think for us. You know, that's where we're getting it wrong. You know,
No, I'm just posing the question.
You mentioned one thing, that when they came here, the only thing they did for us was railways. At least they did one thing. So what have we been able to do for ourselves in 60 years?
Well, that railway was actually not done in our best interest, because it was a narrow gauge railway system. No. If you look at it, it was a narrow gauge railway system.
Narrow gauge railway.
And the reason why they did that,
it served its purpose.
but it was a faulty system when everyone around the world was on a standard gauge railway system. But they didn't want us to link up with the francophone countries or the neighbours.
I understand.
The standard rail.
Yes.
So that was so they could monopolise Nigeria. That was as I said.
That was the idea.
We can't really blame them because they were only in it for themselves. They didn't really care about Nigeria. And so long as Nigerians realise that, we need to wake up, like you said, since 60 years ago, and sort out. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
You see, I mean, Femi, you know the reasons why I tend to look at things, you know, differently. You see, because, you know, I always say to people, you know, when we're not happy with the way things are going, you know, then it has to change. You know, if we're not happy.
If I just want to acknowledge the question from, I think it's Vivian Elabo. She says, thank you for the question, Vivian. She says, absolutely too many duplications of the same. How can we eradicate this? Well, I think that you see, the thing is, there are so many government detractors. You know, anything that the government is doing, they see it as negative. So they don't want to see anything good in it. Now, we've had this ID card system, as far as I can remember, from the Shagari days.
Yeah.
Billions have been spent on ID card, billions on ID card systems and whatnot. Now we've decided under this government, that they want to have a uniform system and it's a national ID number. So that's, in a way, answering your question. So it's a single national identification number, which everybody's going to have. But as you say, it still doesn't address what Mr. Obanleowo was talking about in terms of collecting data at the local government level, the state levels, and coordinating that information, because it's not, even if you have this data, they're not coordinated, they're just little islands of nothing, and everybody's doing things differently. So we need to have a system in place where register of births are, and they are digitalized, because paper documentation in the way that Nigeria is, and the lack of maintenance culture, as it were, it's not going to last. But we have so many youths now who are unemployed, who know about technology. And within a heartbeat, they can make these things seamless. They could be on their ground. In Ogun State, for example, there are 238 wards. To set up 238 data collection centers, shouldn't be difficult.
It shouldn't be difficult at all. You know.
Why?
I agree with you.
You understand?
Yeah.
We ask we have what we call legislators. They're there to legislate. But a lot of people keep calling them legislators because it seems like they're just there to loot. Should they not be legislating on these points? Because there's no point we have these ideas if they require new laws. Because obviously the statutes are not up to scratch.
Yes.
Why do we vote people in if they're not going to make laws to change the system? And then we keep complaining.
You see, the reason, the answer to that question, Femi, is because since the Second Republic, I would say a lot of people have actually, been voted into political offices who have no business in politics.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
People nowadays,
I don't think we should mention any names, but
I'm not going to mention names. I just want to be as honest and explicit as I can. You see, because part of this show is to make sure that we come out as openly and honest as we can. When somebody who never expected to be in a position of authority or all of a sudden finds themselves in that position, what do you expect? No solid background, people who probably only just came into that office through godfatherism and all that. So these are the kind of, and we've allowed these things to continue for so long that it's now more or less been embedded into the system, and people now see it as a way of life. Take for instance what we were discussing earlier before we came on air, whereby no matter how good your intentions are, the ideas you have, if you don't have the finance to back it up, or people who are going to say, look, here's a substantial amount of funds, you're going nowhere.
Okay, so let me drive on just to push on this point of the taxes and people paying their taxes.
Yeah.
So we find that governments, many of our governments, they use citizens' failure to pay taxes and as excuse in their failure to deliver services.
Yeah.
Is that a valid excuse? We can't deliver service because the people are not paying taxes. Is that valid?
It's not a valid reason, Femi, and I agree with you comprehensively on that. But the problem is, in any civilized society, any sensible government who means well for their citizens, you have to lead by example. And which means, when you're in a position of authority, you have to make sure that the system is open and transparent. Okay. When the system is open and transparent, culminated in the fact that the law is there to deal with perpetual abusers of the system, then you have a leg to stand up.
But for 60 years the system hasn't been open and transparent. When is it going to be open and transparent?
If for 60 years the system hasn't been open and transparent, then who do you blame? You see,
that's a good question. Who do we blame? Because people will say, do we have to blame the leaders? Are the leaders the ones that are the problem? Is it the citizens that elect these bogus leaders? Yeah. Or is it the system itself that brings out these bogus leaders? Who is to blame, really?
I personally, and this is my own honest perception. I will blame the leaders mainly for the plights of our people in Nigeria. You see, because when you constantly, come up with ideas that is not favoring the people, but only a microscopic view of the system, then it only gets to a stage whereby people, become, so disgruntled and they rebel.
Yeah, you're right.
And they rebel. You see, and when they rebel, you cannot really say to these people that, look, your cause is not justified. Look at, and I'm not trying to digress. Look at what happened recently in some of the Southwest with this constant mayhem with the killings of innocent people. And it took one individual, to come out to say, listen, enough is enough.
That's the name of our program.
Enough is enough. So that same thing applies to the dysfunctionality in the system.
Yeah, but I mean that's another topic. I don't want to really get into that one today.
You see, that's one thing. We we can't just say, look, it just didn't happen overnight for me. These things have been going on for years.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I find most strange about our system, so we're talking about taxes now, and because government is in a position where it says it can't deliver, and the people are saying we're not going to contribute because you're not delivering any service. And we want to understand that tax is one of the fundamental building blocks of any nation. Without tax, your economy can't grow. In fact, when you analyze a country's tax system, that will tell you about the sophistication of the system and how it's likely to grow. Now, our governors, our ministers, our politicians, they're always going on grandiose projects, talking about building this flyover, talking about building this wonderful this, we're building how many, the biggest this, the biggest that, the giant of Africa, and all this kind of stuff. Whereas these little things like getting the database ready, getting the nitty-gritty and the building blocks of a nation, they are being put asunder. And it's no wonder that the nation is fractured. These are the building blocks, like getting the data for everybody within a local government, within a state, you know, to create the foundation for how you can move forward. Why is that becoming something that is kind of unobtainable in Nigeria? Why is it that our governments don't focus on that? And what can we do, sorry to just add another question, how can we make them make that their focus? Because when they use that foundation, they can then build on that to grow and create the jobs which are non-existent. You know, there's no foundation.
There's no foundation,
And there's no one that, no matter whoever goes in there, no matter how well-meaning that person is, he's going to come up into a stumbling block. Because the system is completely inadequate. How do we address that? How can we leverage on our leaders to say, look, build those blocks now, get the database in your local authorities, start registering people by law, set up the laws, and so on and so forth. Get people to pay their taxes.
I'll tell you what I think, you know, is the easiest solution. You see, remember I said earlier, you know, even from the disparity and the level of inconsistency, you know, in the corridors of power, you know, is so enormous that, look, right from the time I can bet my life, a local government chairman doesn't know the number of schools within his community, within his community,
or even the population.
Or the population. Now, you see, you have to understand and get a firm grip, you know, the population in your local government. When you have proper accountability, when you have people who you've employed, you know, for a specific role, which is, you know, to make sure that within, you know, Abeokuta South local government, Abeokuta North local government, Igbora local government, you know, and it's very easy to collect information from people who work in the civil service, from students.
But isn't it the system is designed for lack of performance? Because the way I see it now, that for local government chairman, for example, he's not interested in what's happening in his local community, who's suffering, who's not suffering. His main concern is the largesse he's going to get from the state governor. You know, that's what he's more concerned about. How much money is the government going to give to me so that I can be on his side? Isn't that more his concern?
I always say, when the foundation is faulty from the local government, you are in serious trouble.
But that is the case. Do we even have functioning local governments? That's the other thing.
That is the problem. You see, because that is the reason why you have your local councillor. That is why the councillors rely on, you know, the lieutenants that we call super. You have supervisor for health, supervisors for environment. It is the responsibility of these lieutenants, you know, with the councillors in those respective domains to work hand in hand with the local chairman, because these are the grassroots.
Okay, I think we should.
When the chairman or sole administrator, or whatever they call them, can honestly say to you know, the government that, look, in my community, in my local government, I have 50 primary schools, 100 secondary schools, and from the number of students in my primary schools, or even from elementary, kindergarten or whatever, you know, I can give you figures. That's a start. So they need to start from somewhere. How do we have a system in place whereby government knows there's some ghost workers working in the ministry. You see,
We're
if they have a system in place to fish out ghost workers, the same system should be able to update and give us comprehensive and up-to-date information about
we're going to be going to break. I'm being told we're going to be going to break shortly.
Yeah.
But look, when we come back from break, I want us to really delve into tax and to actually figure out what is the actual tax burden, what is the tax rates, and what are the charges that people are going to pay. Some people are saying that the tax rates are too high and whatnot. We're going to look at it critically and see whether tax is really too high or not, and see what you will be liable to pay as a taxpayer in Nigeria. So I think when we come back from the break, we'll get onto that one. So stay tuned. Enough is enough.
Níbi àríyá tàbí lóde ayẹyẹ fún nílé afẹ́ ò tàbí níbikíbi. Bóyá 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 ò kẹ́gbọ́n mi. Sweet heart fruit ń gbẹ́lẹ̀ ìdè o, kò táwọn yọ.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the real taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Heart Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ kàn sí Sweet Heart Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálẹ́rà fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social media platforms at Sweet Heart Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Heart Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Heart Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
Níbi àríyá tàbí lóde ayẹyẹ fún nílé afẹ́ ò tàbí níbikíbi. Bóyá 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 ò kẹ́gbọ́n mi. Sweet Heart Fruit ń gbẹ́lẹ̀ ìdè o, kò táwọn yọ.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the real taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more.
Enough is enough. SORO SOKE. I have with me my guest, Mr. ADEOYE OBANLEOWO, and we're talking about why Nigerians should pay taxes, because wanting something for nothing equals nothing. We have to pay taxes. Yeah. Now, it's interesting to note when we look at taxes, we don't have the slides this time around, but we're going to have another show and we'll put slides together so that people can see what these figures are. But this is a basic way of how you can calculate your taxes. So if you have an annual personal income tax sorry. So this is a basic way of calculating your annual income tax. So if you have earnings below 300,000 naira, if you earn less than 300,000 naira, you're only going to pay 1%, and the maximum will be 2,999 naira as tax.
Yeah.
So someone who's earning just over 1,000 naira a day is only going to pay 2,999 naira as taxes. So why doesn't he register? You see, that is a small amount of. Is that too much an amount of money for someone to pay to say, look, I'm a citizen of Nigeria, I deserve service, I paid my taxes, 2,999.
Femi,
just before you get onto that, so if you earn 600,000 naira, okay, 600,000 naira, then after calculating your consolidated relief allowance and all that, your tax is 19,600 naira. That works out to be 3.27%. You're earning nearly 1 million naira, and you're only going to pay 19,000 naira per year. How is that too much tax? So let's move on. If you now earn 1.2 million, you're in you know, that might be still small chips to most people, for some of the big guys, but for some big person, they've never seen 1 million naira. But if you've earned 1.2 million naira, that's like 100,000 per month, isn't it?
Per month, yeah.
Yeah? You know how much tax you have to pay? 78,000 naira. Per year.
Which works out to about 6,500 a month.
Yeah, 6.5% interest, yeah?
Interest, yeah.
So if you're now earning 5 million naira, you know, 5 million naira, that's someone, those big guys, they pay that for rent, yeah? They'll be paying 704,000 naira. Okay? So that's 14.8%, 0.08%. Okay? Whereas here, we're starting at 20%.
20%.
Okay?
And it goes up to 45%.
Yeah, it goes up to 45%. But in Nigeria, it doesn't go up to that high. We don't have that high rate of interest, high rate of tax. So what I'm saying is, I think that some of the misgivings about tax is lack of knowledge. Because people think, oh, I want my punishment, I'm going to be punished with tax, don't I bear? You understand? But actually, when you look at it, these figures don't seem that intimidating. So you can imagine that if 1 million people were paying 100,000 naira, that makes quite a few billions. You understand? So that's what is missing. And what people don't also understand is that so the way the tax works is that if you're a company, a corporate body, your taxes, your corporation tax goes to the federal government. Absolutely. Your VAT and whatnot goes to the federal government. And then they apportion it to the states and local governments afterwards in the federation account and all that kind of stuff. But if you are an individual and you reside in a state, wherever you live, not where you work, so you may live in Ogun State, and you live in and you work in Lagos State, you should pay your tax to Ogun State. Okay? So whatever tax you're paying through PAYE or through, if you're self-employed, you need to pay it to your state of residence. So that's why you need to register with your state Internal Revenue Service. If you are a company, you need to register with the Federal Internal Revenue Service, and they have offices in every state. So we ought to be able to break it down that they should have offices in every local government. I mean, why would someone in Imeko have to go all the way to Abeokuta to register for tax? You understand?
You see, it still boils down to,
it
still boils down to,
you should be able to do it online.
Online, and that is one thing, you know.
I think that they have got online services.
They have online services, Femi. But the problem is, it still boils down to, you know, systemic failure. And I can remember on one of our previous discussions, you know, that I've said, you know, until when we have a government that encourages devolution of power. You see, places like Imeko, you probably go to Imeko today and probably, you know, there's only one bank that is servicing the whole of Imeko.
But that may be a function of the fact that there's lack of business opportunities.
It doesn't, look, you see,
you can't build more banks. It's a private company.
How do you develop these areas if you automatically assume that because Even
Government doesn't own the banks.
Even in Abeokuta, that is the capital, or Ibadan, that is the capital of Oyo State. How many government businesses do we have in these regions?
Yeah, but in the UK, how many government businesses do we have? Do we have government businesses?
No. You see, we cannot compare.
Oh yes, we can.
No, we
can't.
can't.
Yes, we can.
You see, because
it takes funding to make these businesses.
It takes funding.
And then who's going to work there? Is it not going to be another nepotism? Is it going to be another avenue for corruption? What's the point of putting money, which we don't have, into making businesses which they can't create, which is going to be egunje? What is the point?
No.
Wouldn't it be better?
If we have that kind of mindset, Femi, then we will not be able to develop these regions.
Let me give so now we have so this is a good point.
Why do you think? Okay, if you've mentioned UK as an example, why do you think there's so much investment in cities like Manchester, Birmingham now?
But not
why don't they just focus on
not the government in the business? What the government does is create the enable environment for the private sector.
That is what I'm saying. That the same government in Nigeria. And in all these specific states where they have the state governor to create an enabling environment in all these areas so that you give them a sense of belonging for them to be able to develop the potential they have.
So then that's why then we look at, see again, so government is complaining that people aren't paying taxes, so we're not delivering services. People are complaining that we're not paying taxes because you're not delivering services. So it goes back to what we're talking about, that unless these fundamental building blocks are in place to let people understand. And earlier on, when we were in the break, you were mentioning about when someone is born, about them having a stake in the nation, like being born. So you're going to address that, but it's just like if you're not paying taxes, you're not having a stake. You can't have a say. You don't have. You're not paying taxes, then you have no say. You understand? So you go back to what you're saying that.
You see, when we went on that short break, my bone of contention was look, the moment a mother gives back to a child, automatically this should be in the system. When it's in the system, by the time this child gets to the age of 16, Femi, finished his or her education, by the time they want to start employment, there will be a chronology of dates going back to the time this child, where this child was born, the schools this child has attended, from the records. So they know that this child was born in this local government, this child is from this state, this child went to these schools, this child has gained employment with maybe Ulua Kemi, Enterprises Limited. So with that, you know that tax, when it comes to tax purposes, based on the income this person is earning in a month, this person, this certain individual has already created the platform for the system to be able to identify that this person actually exists.
But
do you understand what I'm saying?
So,
when you don't have a system in place to cater for all these things, that is where all sorts of situations happen where people are privy to abuse the system.
But the thing is,
and secondly, again, Femi, before I allow you to continue, when you don't have this an effective network system in place, whereby people can be 100% assured that even even as a self-employed person in my state, because as we brought earlier, if you're living in Abeokuta or Songwater or Ifo, and you're working, take for instance somebody who has their own business, maybe they're into furnishing and all that, and they went for a project in Abuja, a 3 million project. That tax should be remitted back to Ogun State, not in Abuja. So, but if this person does not trust the system in Ogun State, to say, I've earned 3 million naira. I haven't registered my business, so what do I need to? So, and that is why there should be a system in place whereby every small-scale business, every businesses should be registered with the Inland Revenue in that state.
Well, I think
whether you are self-employed or you are on PAYE.
I also believe that. I want any callers who want to call in. Remember, the number is +44 791 809 952. You can call that on WhatsApp. Or you can call the landline, which is +44 203 774 7220. The thing is, as you're saying, the problem we have again in Nigeria, and it's so unfortunate we have to keep on talking about problems, because in the problems we find the solutions, is that there's no real value for life.
Yeah.
And, you know, the state doesn't really know you. And people, like you're saying, that you're going to go and work in Abuja, but you yourself, you are removed from the state, that you don't even have allegiance. You see, we're talking about people wanting to have Biafra, they want to have Oduduwa Republic, they want to have Erewa or whatever, because they feel that they don't have a stake. You understand? But I'd say to them that even now, you don't even have a stake in your state. If you can have a stake as I'm from Ogun State, or I'm from Enugu State, or I'm from Kogi State, Anambra, and I am a citizen, I was born on this day, the state did this for me, I'm registered, this is my registration. Or, you see, like you said, the chronology of events, the state cannot come to... I doubt someone in Ogun State could say, oh, if they mentioned my name, they wouldn't even know anything about me. You understand? Whereas here, they could say, oh, he went to this school, he went to that school, he graduated from this, he graduated... You understand? Even though I was schooled in Nigeria, are the records there? Does the state have that record?
Because, especially in the Southwest region, the only way and I hate to say this, I think we try to compensate for these misgivings by virtue of, you know, our names. You know, take for instance, with my surname, the moment I open my mind to say who I am, or to mention my surname, people automatically know, Obanleowo is from Abeokuta.
But that's because they must be Yoruba and they must be from
Because
Abeokuta.
they know that this name is, and just like somebody in Ibadan, like a typical Ibadan name, you know.
Yeah, but if you're not Yoruba, you wouldn't know that it was a typical.
Should it be like that? That is
name,
only when you bear specific names that people will attach you to a particular area. Yeah. That, oh, you know, this guy, you know, that's their family house, you know, from his surname. No. There should be the proper and effective, you know, database in our states, in our local governments, to take care of these things.
Doesn't it go back to the point that we're saying, the lack of a system of data collection, record keeping, archive creation?
Yes.
It seems, you see, we as a people, we talk about history, we talk about culture, let's maintain our culture, but maintaining data and archives is also about culture.
Yes.
Because it's about, that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Because, look, the dances that they were doing in the 1820s, the songs that they were singing in the 1840s, does anyone remember them in Nigeria now?
No.
You understand? So if we were to create a Nollywood film about Nigeria in the 1840s, how realistic will it reflect actually what happened then, in terms of the clothes that they were wearing, in terms of the music, the food, the recipes and so on? It seems that we have a problem. Is that a cultural thing? Because if you go to Japan, I think it's also a cultural thing, because I think, and remember that Nigeria is, as in my last week when we were speaking, is a country of hundreds of nations. Yeah. You understand? So maybe the Yorubas don't do it, but maybe there are other tribes within Nigeria that can say, oh, actually, no, we've got the records going back to whenever. And we know, you know, we have the records. You know, so also because maybe we weren't writing at that time, we didn't start writing. When did Yoruba become a written language? Yeah. Do you understand? So that we can, because everything was done orally before. With Owe and
all that,
what's it, your Oriki and all that kind of stuff. You understand? But the essence of a people is beyond, that is important, but as you move into the modern day era...
Let me incorporate something.
You know?
I mean, take for instance the secondary school I went to in Abeokuta, Baptist Boys School. Yeah. You know, every year that we attend our yearly, we call it Congress. Yeah. There's this booklet that they sell to each old boy. That is, it's 100. I think it's about 1,000 naira. No. Now, in that booklet, this school was founded in 1923. Every single individual that attended that secondary school, right from the time of the inception at Okegwea till this modern day era that we're in now. Every single individual from the time the school was founded in 1923 to today, every single, going by your set, your name is in that book. Okay. I left that school in 1983. If I go to 1972 to 1983, my name is there. You know, But this is a school that was founded in 1923. So wasn't it some people, was it the Oyinbos too that came up with that idea? Some people, must have had, records of every single student that passed through this institution, this secondary school, and they've been able to, keep records. This same thing, why should it be a problem, with accumulating records? A child was born today, the number of deaths, so that we can actually have a balanced system to be able to take care of these things.
But as I said to you, I know we don't want to talk about the history and we say we're not sure blame the British, but we set up Nigeria in such a way, the census was created in such a way that many people are saying it's fraudulent. But that's not an excuse, as you rightly say, for us not to fix things now.
Not to fix things and move forward.
We should fix things now and don't rely on
because
that.
Because at the end of the day, we're not going to obtain independence from this.
Exactly, and I think that the census should actually move down to local government level. Yeah. Like you said, it should be the responsibility of a local government chairman to think of ideas of how they can generate business opportunities and employment opportunities and make their local government the center for driving investment. You understand?
See, I mean,
what is stopping us saying
Femi,
doing that?
I'm not going to look for excuses for local governments. I think in the past, you see, because most of these local governments were under the armpits of state governments, state governments or whatever, because most of the allocation that is meant for this local government to develop, you see, because for any government to be sustainable in the long run, you see, they need a lot of funds to be injected into the system, especially at grassroots level. But the local government, they've been deprived of funds to take care of this.
But isn't it time to actually choose local government? Take one local government per state, for example, and make it a pilot program, a test pilot program for all these ideas that we're suggesting, so that they can use that place to to test systems and work things out in one local government and see how that can make a difference. You understand?
Yes.
So in this local government, we're going to start registering all the citizens. We're going to do things differently. We're going to, push things in a different. Wouldn't that be an idea?
It's a good idea, you see. But at the end of the day, I think it has to be an agreement, between all the
774 local governments. You understand? In 36 states, that's 1 times 36.
1 times 36.
So even just 36 local governments, use them as a test place. We want this to be a center where you can drive investment, diaspora investment, private investment. Try things differently. Don't do things like that we've done in the past. But let's get back to discussing, and I know I haven't got my slides, but I want to just touch base with my audience there about the Nigerian personal income tax. So the personal income tax rate is applied on a graduated scale and taxable income bands as set out in this thing. So if you earn up to the first 300,000 naira, you only pay 7%. And as I said, anything under 300,000, you're only going to pay 1%.
1%, yeah.
So the next 300,000, you pay 11%. And the next 500,000 after that, you pay 15% on that figure, on the 500,000, not on the whole lot, just on that 500. The next 500,000, 19%, and then the next 1.6 million, 21%, and then anything above 3.2 million, above 3.2 million is 24%.
Yeah.
We know that in the UK, the maximum tax rate is 45%.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Yeah. We're paying 24%.
Yeah.
Yet people are complaining that we pay too much taxes. This is not the truth, is it?
It's not the truth at all, Femi. You see, and the problems we have in Nigeria, and I know, you don't like me using the word problems all the time.
No, it's problems.
You see,
we're here to solve those problems.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for.
We are just, we have monumental problems. Yes. You see, now, if people are now saying that 24% out of a yearly income of 3.2 million.
That's anything above 3.2.
Now, it's excessive. Then what are we talking about? Well, at the same time, we want good roads. good health, good water, good health facilities. You know, we want our pensions to be paid. You see, all of these things. You know, and remember the problem we had sometimes last year, FEMI, whereby we said, you know, the money that the federal government budgets to take care of this essential services yearly is not enough.
Look, I just want to
the reason why it's not enough is because the government is not generating enough money through taxes. Even though I know that even the funds that come in through taxes, I mean,
how they use them is another matter.
But
let's look at, so when we do comparison, people don't like us doing these comparisons. They say, that's the Western world. Don't you compare? At least the government, we can see what they're doing with the money, all this kind of blah, 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 blah. But look, if you're in the UK, you're going to pay a basic income tax of 20%. 20%. Very straight away. After your allowances, obviously you've got allowances, but 20%.
Then comes your pension deduction and so on. And you know, national insurance,
and even council tax. We pay council tax. That's a different amount. But in Nigeria, as I said, the maximum is 24. Starting here is 20. The highest rate in the UK, we said, is 45%. Okay. In Nigeria, the highest rate is 24%.
24%.
On top of our 45% or 40% or 20% here in the UK, we have to pay national insurance contribution. 12%. That's 12%. So if you're paying at 20%, you've got to add another 12% for national insurance. That's compulsory. Okay. Then you have to pay council tax, which is like tenement rates.
Yes. And if you go to stores to do your shopping, you have to pay VAT.
You have to pay VAT as well.
Do you
understand? But people are complaining that we're paying too much in Nigeria. Meanwhile, over here, we have to pay for gas, we have to pay for electricity, we have to pay for water. Nothing is for free. You understand?
Your broadband and all that.
Exactly. So if you want service, you have to pay for it. It's as simple as that. Now,
even though I also, I'm in unison that you know, paying taxes should actually be a burden.
No,
you see,
and that's why it's quite low
for citizens to be able to enjoy the benefits of you know, the values which you know tax brings. Then nobody needs to disagree with the fact that you know it is only imperative that we understand the needs and the importance of paying taxes. You know, but why some people will be create the impression that 24% on a salary of 3.2 million, you know, beggars belief.
Now look, the other thing, the main problem I see with Nigeria is when it comes to corporation tax. That's where I see that we have a problem. Because in the UK, the maximum corporation tax is 19%, whereas in Nigeria, the maximum is 30%. But we say we're open for business and we're trying to encourage foreign investment and other investors. If you're cracking 30% at them, how is that going to be when over here in the UK it's only 19%, and in other countries it's even less?
Based on the profits, you know, you've been able to generate after.
Obviously, if the companies are able to retain more of their profits, they're able to employ more people and to expand. But 30% is going to government. And government and people are complaining they're not doing anything with that money. That's going to the federal government, mind you. Not going to the state government, that's going to the federal government. And small companies is 20%. Okay? That's a big problem.
What is the definition of small companies in Nigeria? I really want to get to family.
Well, I haven't got that definition here, but obviously there's...
Are we talking of... is it because when we talk of small businesses, you know, a small business could be, you know, somebody who's got a shop in Lafenwa, you know,
So I'll bring that out next week, in the next topic, the next time we talk about tax. But it's just saying to you that 30%, 20%, whereas in the UK it's 19% and elsewhere it's even less. So Nigeria is not open for business, is it?
Absolutely not.
We need to do something about that. Okay, and that's something that needs to be addressed urgently, as a matter of yesterday. So let's look at a typical tax calculation again. We're talking about tax and why you must pay taxes. So I've got a typical scenario here of an Okada rider. So you're an Okada rider, and maybe you're earning around 5,000 naira to 10,000 naira per month, per day. That's not an excessive amount, is it?
Well, depending on the location of this,
yeah,
you know,
on average,
and
somewhere like Lagos,
into perspective as well, that most of them are actually being put out of business. Most especially with the
the ones that are working, not the ones that aren't working. So let's
Yeah.
assume you're working, you're earning money.
Yeah.
Well, a drop is what, say, 100 naira, 200 naira. You're gonna earn, how many drops you're gonna do in a day?
Into consideration as well, based on today's rate of inflation as well.
It's about 5k, 5k to 10k. Let's call it 5k to 10k. They're gonna earn a day.
Yeah.
That's after they've paid the money for the agberos and all the. You see, that's where people talk about multiple layers of taxing.
Yeah.
Because if you have to pay an agbero or the National Union of Road Transport Workers,
yes,
those kind of taxes aren't proper. They're not taxes, are they? If I have to run my vehicle and then I have to give some tout, some someone who's going to be is going to be taking money from me, that's not a legitimate tax, is it?
It's not.
Is it compulsory for me to be a member of the NURTW before I can run? And if you don't pay them, you're going to get beaten up. Your vehicle's going to be destroyed. Isn't that a kind of gangsterism?
Yes.
Is that not another form of gangsterism?
It is indeed, and this thing has actually been going on for so long, Femi, whereby sometimes you are at a motor park, anywhere, and sometimes the driver has just loaded, probably just to start to embark on the journey, maybe from Adopter to Ibadan to Korea or whatever, and you just see this house coming in front of the vehicle to say, look, you haven't actually paid your dues or whatever. And sometimes, it descends into chaos, whereby, oh, look, I haven't actually, made any money today. So, but at the end of the day, the next thing that comes to mind is you begin to wonder, where is this money going? Is the
NURTW not
National Union of Road Transport Workers?
Are they not a gangster organisation that just goes out there to steal money from people?
Femi,
isn't that what it's all about? And isn't it the politicians that use them as their touts during elections that are allowing this kind of vagabondry to be going on?
Femi, I personally don't have a problem with the National Union of Road Transport Workers. Because every sensible organisation must have a governing body, and
is it compulsory that you must be a member?
It should be. You see,
it should be.
Wait,
it's not compulsory to be a union member.
Let me tell you the reasons why I think. Okay, you see, Femi, look, when we're talking of Nigeria and taxation in Nigeria and
mind you, payment of dues to a union is not tax.
No, okay, dues or whichever word we want to use. I'll tell you the reason why. Okay, Femi, you see, would you be happy? You being, a transporter, you've got a couple of vehicles, you've registered your business with the state inland revenue or whatever, take for instance in Ogun State, you've got 10 vehicles, you're sitting there, you have a registered place where prospective, people who want to travel, that's where they're meant to, go to, but you have vehicles, on the roadside, this, what do they call them? This, people, solid, charging,
or you mean,
charging less. So the idea is
why don't we call them the Ubers? Why not they be Ubers?
No, wait.
What about Ubers?
You see, when you are a member of the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers, you have access to a garage. Your vehicle is there. You can comfortably or conveniently go in there, load your passengers and go.
But isn't it?
You have to understand that it costs them money to maintain this thing.
No, but the garage is owned.
It's just the abuse. It's the abuse.
The garages are owned by the local government, so that's
the garages are owned by the local government.
By the
so which means
okay.
So if these garages are owned by aren't they paying for these garages?
Who's paying for them?
The local government. So it's through the monies, it's through the funds.
So are you saying that NURTW is now a tax collecting agency for the government?
No. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is for every area that is designated for a particular purpose, which is a bus garage, bus garages don't come cheap. So that land could be rented from somebody. So which means on a yearly basis, maybe maybe it's a leasehold land, maybe it's a freehold land. We don't know. Just because a garage is owned by the maybe the local government for that particular jurisdiction actually has sole responsibility for that particular premises. It doesn't actually mean they own the land. It could be rented.
So most of the land
there has to be a leverage. There has to be a balance.
Let's get it. I mean, look, you're not fooling me. The truth of the matter is the
NURTW. I wouldn't say, because if the NURTW is actually an organization set up to more or less undermine the integrity of what it's meant to
the NURTW, as many
the government will have scrapped it.
The government would have scrapped it when I've already told you that they are their tools as their touts and their agents when it comes to political thuggery. They go to NURTW to do what they're doing.
Do you know how long this
I know the history of NURTW and their thuggery and their and what they do as an entity. And I'm saying to you that what they're doing is nothing more than brigandage in a way, because they're not a tax collecting agency. Right? So they shouldn't be forced. Look, it shouldn't be compulsory to join any union. Union membership should be voluntary. I should have the choice to join. That's one. Okay. Two, now, I agree. If you're going to join into a particular motor park, then you must follow the rules of that motor park.
Absolutely. So it's very important, Femi.
That goes without saying. But I'm telling you that when I was going into Abeokuta and vehicles are coming into Abeokuta, the NURTW will be attacking the taxi driver who's not going into any motor park for money. You understand? He's not even a member of their agent of their union. You understand? So this is what I'm talking about. These kind of things are wrong. And it leads to abuse, intimidation, and thuggery. And that's why, if you think about the amount of money that they are generating on a daily basis, it's unbelievable.
I don't think any reasonable government in its right frame of mind will encourage thuggery or the use of force to extort.
The government of Ogun State.
Are you trying to tell me that
Governor Deacon announced just last week that the NURTW must vanish from the government-owned motor parks? Have you not heard that report? So that must tell you exactly what's going on. I'm telling you that they are an agency, they are a law unto themselves, and they've created havoc. But what's going to happen when it comes to election times? They're going to be in the good books because they're going to need them. And that's why, to me, that's just something wrong. So, look, I think we should go on a break shortly because my computer is playing up, and I want to give an example of this Okada driver and rider and how much tax a typical Okada person or Yalata or Onigari and so on, how much would they be paying tax? I'm sure you want to know. Stay tuned.
Níbi àríyá tàbí lóde ayé sọ fún wọn nílé afẹ́ ò tàbí níbikíbi. Bóyá 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 ò kẹ́gbọ́n mi. Sweet Heart Fruit ń gbẹ́lẹ̀ ìdè o, ó táwọn yọ.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Heart Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ kàn sí Sweet Heart Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálẹ́rà fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social media platforms at Sweet Heart Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Heart Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Heart Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
fún wọn nílé afẹ́ ò tàbí níbikíbi. Bóyá 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 ò kẹ́gbọ́n mi. Sweet Heart Fruit ń bẹ́lẹ̀ ilé o, ó táwọn yọ.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the rich taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Heart Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ kàn sí Sweet Heart Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálẹ́rà fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social media platforms at Sweet Heart Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Heart Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Heart Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our show Enough is Enough, SORO SOKE, with my guest ADEOYE OBANLEOWO.
Good to have you, Femi.
Thank you. We've been grappling, and we have our differences when it comes. The last, as we're going out, we're talking about NURTW, the National Union of Road Transport Workers,
yeah.
And I want to agree with Mr. Obanlewo that having a National Union of Road Transport Workers in of itself is not something that is to be frowned upon, as in saying that should be it's a totally reckless organization. But what we're saying is that it should be sanitized and it should be regulated. Yeah. No union should be above the law, and no union should be using force to collect money from any of its members. Yeah. Now, what we're talking about the lack of data and so on and so forth. We would like to know that any member, every person in the National Union of Road Transport Workers, all their managers, all their agents, all their subdivisional managers are all registered. Yes. We have to have all their biometrics. Every member of National Union of Road Transport Workers should also be registered with their biometrics, with their driving license number, record of their insurance. If they're not having any insurance, they shouldn't be driving. If they've got records and criminal records, or if they've got outstanding issues that are blocking them from driving, they don't have a license, for example, they shouldn't be riding. You understand? So you find people that will come from, I mean, a lot of the northerners, I haven't got anything against northerners, are coming down all the way from the north down to Lagos or Abeokuta or wherever and becoming Okada drivers overnight. Yeah. They don't have driving license. They don't have insurance. You understand? Are they registered with the NURTW, with their biometrics and whatnot? If a lot of these people are committing crimes, are committing robberies, committing all sorts of things. If they were all registered, it should be easy to be able to get. Those data should be registered with the police. Yeah. These are the things that we need to see. If government is not making legislation to that effect, we have a problem. So let me go straight to the tax calculation for this Okada rider. Okay. So which I said was earning roughly between 5,000 naira and 10,000 naira per day. That's after he might have paid. If he borrowed the car and he's paying loan interest, if he's paid for insurance, he's paid for MOT, roadworthiness, if he's paid the NURTW dues, and he's paid any police bribe, because he's going to pay bribe, isn't it? He may have paid FRSC bribe, LASMA bribe, all these bribes, road tax, and all the repairs costs. After he's paid all those, in his pocket, he's got about 5,000 to 10,000 naira to go home to say Obe, to make his soup or to give his wife.
Are we being realistic about this?
We've got a call coming in. Is that coming in? Can I take it? Can we take it? Put it on speaker. Hello, how are you? How can I help you? Sorry, hello?
Hello.
Hi, what's your name? Oh, hi, how are you doing, Amy? How can I help you? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I would like to contribute to what you are saying.
Good. What's... Okay, good. What would you like to say?
Firstly, I would like to commend you. Well done for the good job doing
Thank you very much, Bidemi.
Also to your guests.
Thank
My
you.
question is, you said that everybody should be registered.
Yes.
Being civilian, being government worker, everyone should be registered
Abs-
and have the biometrics. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you think that can be possible in our country, Nigeria?
Yes, it can.
Even the Bible says where there is no law, there is no sin. It's where there is law, and people implement the law, and they did not work against the law, things like that can happen. Not in a country where everybody does what they wishes to. Not in a country where everybody does what they like. Not in a country where, because of position or because of manpower, they treated every other person as an animal. I don't think that can work.
Okay.
For the last 50 years now, we've gained our independence. We have our own freedom, but yet it's like we are still in the bondage.
Okay, we're still in
We
bondage.
are still in the captivity. Yet it's as if we are not being free at all. It's as if we are still under the white people controlling us. That's why I asked that question. Do you think such thing can even happen in Nigeria?
Okay.
And I wish our elders, people in power, can be watching this kind of a program. Maybe they will change their mind and treat us better. This is my little contribution. I might come back again.
Thank you, Bidemi. You'll be most grateful. We love that question. Okay, well, let's address that question. Well, first and foremost, we know that we've had a bad foundation, if you like. We've had a bad foundation. We had a bad 60 years of ineptitude and mediocrity. Now is the time to change.
Absolutely.
Now is the time to change. We can't keep harping on about the past and refuse to build a foundation. As I spoke last week, I said even a faulty building, you can shore it up, and you can use methods to keep the foundation stable, underpinning and whatever. Although my guest last week said that some buildings are so decrepit that you have to
Absolutely, and I agree with him. You know,
So,
because I watched the program. You know,
but
and you know, and I think to a reasonable extent, it's justified. You know.
yeah, good. But that could also be a matter of cleaning the slate. There is no system, so clean the slate and put in place new systems.
New system,
So that doesn't necessarily mean that you throw the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
So we can clean the system,
Yeah.
and we can create the system. So it's down to those who elect us, who we elect, to do our bidding for us.
Yeah.
Now, if you as a citizen are paying your taxes and you remain silent and you keep quiet, then it's no wonder they're going to do whatever they want. When you have paid into the system, you have a voice and you need to speak out. And that's where we have a problem now. A lot of Nigerians are not speaking out in terms of truth to power to say, fix the system. Most of them are talking to say, I'm fed up of the system, I want to get out, I want to cash out, I want to escape. And that's why they're escaping with their feet by moving abroad for those who can do so. And those who can't, you know, they say they want a new, you know, a country, they want, you know, whatever. But those things are, to me, dreams. They're not realistic, they're going to happen right now. What you can do now is complain. Complain and take action and ask your representatives to make those decisions that you need. So what we need to do is think of these ideas and these proposals and put it forward to them. Keep putting it forward to them, keep complaining, and when they refuse, 2023 is around the corner, you know what to do with your vote. If you take the vote, if you take the Wolf Dibokalo, then that's your problem. But if you want to change, you get rid of them and put someone who's going to do your bidding for you. So that's my that's my answer. I don't know.
I just want to add to what you said. You see, when a system is so rotten to the core,
Absolutely to the core.
that's, you know, we're now trying to, you know, automatically assume that. I'm not saying that the electoralists don't have their own fair share of blame, you know, but remember that initially when we started the program, I said, you know, the foundation has been faulty, you know, from our leaders. You see, Femi, the problem we have is people have been so disenfranchised from, you know, the system in Nigeria that not many people can actually think straight, you know, and be able to envisage what a normal society, you know, Nigeria is fast becoming, rather than being a normal society, Nigeria is fast becoming an abnormal society where, you know, everything that is going on in the country, you know, is beyond human comprehension. You see, it's beyond. You see, because take for instance, somebody who, you know, has gone through the rigors of, you know, educating a good education, you know, right from kindergarten to secondary school, university level, and there's nothing at the end of the day to show for it. You know, they cannot get a job, they cannot feed themselves, nothing in the system is working for them. So when this person has the opportunity to now showcase their talent, you know, in a foreign country, are you actually going to blame them to say, look, you know, this is a country, this is a country where this is a country where they were born and bred. This is a country where, you know, they spent a great deal of their life, but, you know, nothing is working for them. So we cannot really now say that, okay, this person cannot go somewhere else for and there are so many people who fall into that category, and that's why, you know, we keep saying that, you know, now is the time, and back to the point you raised earlier, that, you know, people cannot fold their arms, but there isn't much people can do when they're not given the opportunity to express their mind. You see, in Nigeria, you know, that word democracy that we use in Nigeria. Nigeria is a country whereby, you know, people just swear allegiance, people just automatically, we have rule of mind in Nigeria, not rule of law. You see, we don't apply the law when, you see, if I say anything that is contrary to, you know, what the government beliefs are, you know, the next minute they can get the police to come and arrest me. Is that no, family?
Let's be realistic.
Yes.
I want to be realistic. So
we have to look at the foundation. You see,
we're gonna do.
Why is it that people think in a certain way? Why is it that people behave in a certain way? And these are the reasons.
We're gonna have a discussion about democracy, and it's not really the discussion for today.
Yeah.
But
so
really,
we have to look at the
when we
basic
get to
reasons
that,
why
we can
people
really talk about that.
reason in such a way that you think, these people are they're not being fair. You know, they're not paying their taxes. Yes, we can apportion blame. We can sit down here and say, look, these are the things that is wrong with the system. But we have to still go back to the nitty-gritty of the system.
We digress. Let's get back to that Okada driver.
Okay.
Rider. I keep calling him a driver, but he's a rider.
Yeah.
He's earning 5k.
Yeah.
5,000 naira to 10,000 naira per day, as you say. That's his take-home pay in his wallet.
Okay.
After he's done all the stuff he's done, he's eating his
expenses.
His expenses. He's bought what's that sausage that they eat? That meat? What's that meat? What's
Boli
or whatever, Boli Atekwa or whatever it is, with some Fanta. So anyway, he's got this, which works out to be about 300. That if you're earning 10,000 naira per day,
which is 300,000 a month.
That's going to be 3.65 million a year. That's if he works every day, no rest.
No rest.
You know,
which is impossible.
It's not impossible in Nigeria. They work like crazy, some of them. But let's assume he works every single day. That's 3.6. That's because we said it's 5k to 10k.
Absolutely.
It's between 1.85 million to 3.65 million per year. Okay. Now, when we calculate his taxes and whatever, do you know how much tax he's going to pay? He's going to pay 186,000 naira a year, which works out to be 15,000 naira per month, which is 9.3% tax.
Now, the question
these figures you can get, if you want to know about how to calculate your tax, you can find it at www.apps.firs.gov.ng/tax calculator. I'll say it again. It's apps.firs, Federal Inland Revenue Service.gov.ng/tax calculator. He's going to pay 9.3% tax, which is 15,000 naira per month. Why is that impossible? So in 3 days, he can get the money to pay the tax for the whole month. Why is that impossible?
Won't give you the impression that most of the so-called Okada riders that ride on our streets daily do actually know what they mean by tax.
What I'm suggesting to you is that they're not registered for tax. That's the
That's
whole
what
point.
I'm saying.
That's what
But
we're saying.
Don't the state governments know that they have Okada riders in the state? So what are they doing to correct these abnormalities? They know that we have about 200 or 300 Okada riders or more than that in the state capital. They have a particular location that they normally pick their spot. So what is the state government doing to make sure that every single Okada rider maybe in Abeokuta or Ifo or Ota or Yewa should be on a database whereby the government knows that Mr. ADEOYE OBANLEOWO, is an Okada rider. This is how much we assume or anticipate that he should be making in a year.
That brings me to my next question, which is what I was focusing on. That is it not a dereliction of duty for government not to register every income earning person in their state? Isn't that a dereliction of their duty? That it is their duty because they're saying we're not getting taxed, we can't do the job. And they're failing to register every single person that's working in the state. Right. Isn't that a dereliction of their duty?
It's absolutely, it's a dereliction of the duty. But it still goes down to what we said earlier. Do we have a proper database to register these people?
But
we don't.
There is a database because they have a state inland revenue service. Is it that there's not enough staff to go out there to register people, or what is the problem?
One thing is for you to have staff. Another thing is for you to be able to have a system. You see, because Femi, if you have it's like we constantly blame the police. But are we giving the police enough tools to do their jobs? If you have staff and the staff are still using the old way of doing things, they don't have computer facilities, they don't have the system in place to be able to collect information, to collect this data. So are you going to you see? One thing is for you to have members of staff to do a job. Another thing is for you to provide an enabling environment and the tools,
equipment and
the equipment.
But that's also where but that's why I also.
And that is why it's easier for somebody to go into any of the ministries or to say, okay, I want to pay my tax, and it's okay. They will just pull out a receipt. Maybe just as you rightly said, maybe the tax due. But that person to pay in a month is 10,000. That's why it's easy for somebody to just write a receipt and say, okay, 10,000. Put 5,000 on the 10,000 on the receipt with no records, and while the rest goes into their pocket. You see, that's the problem,
Or if on the alternative, write 2,000, and then give me 3,000 in my pocket. So, but what I suggest is that's why I suggest that government needs to now, because it hasn't got the capacity. That's one thing you must admit. Our governors and our governments and our federal and state refuse to acknowledge that they lack capacity. So wouldn't they outsourcing and using private sector to supplement them and to create to create jobs in the first place? Because when you outsource, you're going to create jobs. And those people can generate the data and also collect the revenue for the state. Wouldn't that be something that they should be considering? Aggressively,
they should be. And I totally agree with you. You see, but for that to be implemented effectively, all these tools and all these things that we mentioned earlier has to be in place.
And if there's no legislation as well, because it should be in the law in the state that it is against the law, and you could be fined or sent to prison if you don't register with the state inland revenue service for income purposes. It should be a law, and that you could even be stopped. Like here now, if you're driving on the road, or even if you're in a bus, you know that they have these joint teams that come, immigration, DSA, the Department of Works and Pensions, and some other agencies. They come on the bus to check to see whether you've got right to remain in the country, and whether if you're going to work and you're on unemployment benefit and you're supposed to be on unemployment and you're going to work, that's a problem. So they arrest people and imprison them. So they could have teams like that in Nigeria. That they can stop people and say, are you registered for tax? You're not registered for tax, you've committed an offence.
I've always said it numerous occasions. That in Nigeria, it's not that we don't know what we need to do, it's just that we fail to implement them.
So whose fault is it? Is
it's
it because... No, but you know,
know,
there's two things. Sorry, I want to cut in. One is that people know what to do, they don't want to do it. But it's the same people that will be complaining to the government if they were to implement those rules tomorrow. This government is not fair. They're trying to force us to register. They're trying to collect taxes from us. So they'll be the ones complaining tomorrow. What? Is it not so?
Femi.
And the politicians are scared of not being re-elected, so they won't do it.
You see, I mean, I'm not going to apportion too much blame to the people that vote them into power. You see, because we've already discussed it on many occasions. The mechanism and the reasons why people adopt this kind of mentality. You see, Femi, when somebody has been saddled with so much responsibilities that is now becoming a burden to them, responsibilities were looking after their children, responsibilities were looking after their extended family, and the
We've got another call coming.
money is not forthcoming. Then expect the unexpected.
Hello, welcome to the show. What's your name? Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, Wooly speaking.
What'd you say, Wooly? Hello? Yeah, hi. How can I? Yeah, have you got something to contribute to the show?
Money meant to be useful. Can you please explain better to me?
What the money is meant to be used for?
Money. Yes, what is it?
What the taxes are meant to be used for?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good. Well, look, that's a very good question, but we're running out of time today, and we're most probably going to have another show. But there are many things that taxes are meant to be used for.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's we look at the budget and what the money is spent for.
Yeah.
Every government has different priorities. But there's
And that's why in Nigeria we government will always continue to have budget deficit.
Yeah, they
see,
do have. They
yes.
continue to have budget deficit, and that's a big problem, isn't it?
That's a big problem.
Yeah. So they have. They always announce these fantastically large budgets.
Yes.
So billions, so trillions.
Billions.
But when you look at the income side of
income
things,
side of
they
things,
never
they-
meet up because they're always going cap in hand to the federal government
Yes.
for budget. But anyway, let's look quickly at what we spend the money on. So they spend the money on things like debt servicing. So you talk about debt. If the government's got debt, they have to pay the debt. Then if the government has got salary, so recurrent expenditure, so the salary of all the workers, salary of all
including ghost workers as well, who are not, so that's another problem.
Salary of the legislators,
Legislators,
salary of the governors, salary of all the special advisors, and all those key workers and appointees and so on and so forth. Then they put another amount of money which they put for what they call capital expenditure. So that's for building roads, building schools, any structural building infrastructure that they need to spend on, they do that. So when recurrent expenditure for things like teachers, nurses, doctors, people that work in the Ministry of Sports and so on, social services and so on. So there's so many other things that they spend. So security, that's another money, that money goes on police and so on and so forth. But we'll have to go speak on another time. We can go into detail because state expenditure is quite different to federal expenditure. So each one of them, and then local government expenditure is quite different as well. I got a question from Toyin Aderonke, and she says, if the majorities paid their taxes, can tax collectors do accountability of money received or paid for? And that's the problem.
That's another problem, you see, because like here we have qualified and well-trained tax inspectors. And that's, Femi, even football clubs. In the last few years, we've seen the inland revenue on the cases of quite a few football clubs who they forced them to wind down. Look at big department stores as well. Because of large and huge. If you don't pay your tax, you have no business in doing business. And that's the problem. In Nigeria, the reason why the system is so much compounded is because a lot of people are of the opinion that this is Nigeria they can do what they want. You know, they can bribe government officials. They can pay their way through, you know, a system that is already, you know, begging for help, and you know, because so many people are getting away with it, everybody now automatically assumes that because A is doing it, B is doing it, automatically I can do it and get away with it. And so that is why, you know, we don't actually have anything, you know, within the system, within the confines of the law, that, you know, people can say, hang on, you know, if I do this, you know, there's going to be repercussions. You know, nobody actually has any respect for the rule of law, and that is the reason why an official, you know, working in the Inland Revenue can collect bribes, you know, and not give proper account of the funds coming into the treasury, and get away with it. And if they do prosecute these people, well, it is still the same prosecutors that will be negotiating with them. That, okay, you know, this person. You see, look at how many people, you know, have abused their position. You know, not only for tax purposes only, but that this same government that we're talking about have negotiated with them to say, okay, how much can you pay back?
Yeah, but yeah.
So
I mean, that's
the problem for me, you know, the problem is when the penalty for these offences are not severe, you know, when the penalties are not severe, then the problem is, you know, this. But
you have a situation. I mean, I want to address this question because, you know, we have to value our guests who ask questions. And what I would say to the system we have in place always needs rejigging. Every system always continuously needs rejigging. The solution to the accountability and the collection of taxes is what you must do now is that the government should move away from face-to-face collection of taxes to digital systems. So if you have automated systems, as I said, I did my tax returns the other day and I had to do my system and I paid my money automatically to the government online with my bank statement, and I paid it straight away. I got an acknowledgement from the government straight away that I paid this and I've got to pay certain balances over a period of time. So what I'm suggesting to you is that government needs to embrace, in fact COVID has shown that face-to-face interaction and whatever must be minimized. So government needs to stop having people going around to say, okay, I'll give you receipts, blah, 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 and then give false remittances to the government. If you have even the people that go to collect money from you, it should be done in such a way that it has to be done with app, like an app, so you can pay with your bank card, bank transfer. You say any payments must be done by bank transfer. You must get an alert. They will get an alert. So once these things are automated and done properly, and there has to be systems in place, you know, to check and stuff, because obviously there have to be checks and balances. But the more they automate the system, the more money that will be generated, and it can be made accountable. Government can then have a system whereby they can have a window where they can say, you know, like a clock. This is how much money that we're generating on a daily basis. This is the amount of money that the good citizens of Ogun State, or the good citizens of Ondo State, or Ekwe, this is how much you are paying on a daily basis, and the clock is saying, we need to reach this limit, we need to reach this target. Go out and pay your target. And then what the government must do is, as they are collecting those taxes, deliver services. There's nothing more infuriating than when you pay for service and you don't get that service. I've got a state in Nigeria where I've paid money for, I'm not going to mention the state, but I've paid money for a service. It's coming this month actually, it's going to be 4 years, and they have not delivered on that service. It's unconscionable. And we're not talking about small money, we're talking in the tens of thousands of naira, which are put together, in fact, the hundreds of thousands of naira actually, when I think about it, with the other things I have to do, and they haven't delivered. You see? So if you are paying your taxes, discouraging investments there straight away. So if government wants to succeed, it must deliver on its services. People will pay when they see the service delivery, and you must make it open and accountable. So, for example, going back to the minimum tax payable, which is like 3,000 naira. So if you are paying the 3,000 naira, because you're earning less than 300,000 naira in a year, if 1 million people pay that 3,000
quite a
naira.
substantial
That's
amount of
3
money.
billion naira
Into the government
into
coffers.
the government coffers.
Yeah.
That's for the minimum. The minimum. That is for people. Maybe this is, I don't know. What would you be earning to be earning 300,000 naira in a year? That's like 1,000 naira a day. Someone's selling, I don't know, oranges on their head.
Yeah,
Would they make up to 1,000 naira in a day?
No, that's no.
They will. I think they will make up to 1,000 naira. Maybe 500 naira a day. I don't know. But anyway, they will pay just 3,000 naira in a year. Yeah, that's 2,999. If 1 million people, I mean, come on, how many people are living in Lagos? How many people living in Lagos?
See, the thing is that let me tell you one thing about.
And these
most of
these are the people I'm talking about in the poverty. These are people I would call on the poverty level now, on the lowest of the lowest.
See, it's very easier for the government to track how well an individual is doing, most especially when it comes to their business. Most especially when these funds are going through their bank account.
That's those. Many of them don't have bank accounts.
Most of these people don't have bank accounts. That's another problem. Are you YMC, selling
but remember, this
and most of these people
300,000 naira
because of the system that is so bad.
It's 25,000 naira a month. That's less than the minimum wage. It's 25,000 naira a month. Yeah. Hello, welcome to the show. Enough is enough. I can. Yes, hi. Who's this?
This is Olu again.
Okay, Olu. How you doing?
Yeah.
Nice to hear from you.
I'm listening to what you are saying, but it's as if you don't know the kind of government we have in Nigeria. Do you think the money from the taxpayer will benefit our home government? Do you think that money we move them to even use for the country? When they have every other sources to get their income.
What are the other sources?
Acquire money and not even working.
What are the other sources? What other sources?
The tax money from the civilian, we even move them to do anything for the benefit of the country. Did you think so?
I absolutely think so.
I don't think so.
Let's put it this way.
The interest of the people they are governed in their mind. If they have the interest of the people they are governed, they will put everything in place, because most of them, even all of them, they are coming to the Western world. They see what is happening here.
Okay.
They see IOC.
Olu.
They can implement that if they only have the
Olu, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. So,
Thank you, Femi.
okay, thank you, cheers. Let me just say, the problem that people don't realize, and we're going to be wrapping up shortly, is that Nigeria is one of the lowest taxed countries in the world. So what we're saying is that when you have your population of people who are actively working or earning money, no matter how small, less than maybe about 15% of them are paying taxes. So that means that 85% are not paying taxes. So when people say the government, are they going to do this, are they going to do that? Because so few people are paying taxes, there is less of an onus on government to be accountable. When there's more people paying those taxes, they can't ignore them. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they definitely won't. There won't be no stealing.
Most of the people who in the self-employment category who should be paying taxes as well.
These are the people that we're talking about.
Who are plumbers, hawkers on the streets.
They should be paying taxes.
They should be paying, but at the end of the day, most of these people, as we identified earlier, don't even have bank accounts.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop them from paying taxes.
Most of these people, Femi, okay, apart from those who, are engaged in big businesses, whereby, okay, they have, take for instance, a big supermarket, somebody who has maybe a big store where they sell in large quantity, maybe bags of sugar, bags of
a lot of them are not even paying taxes.
Most of them are not paying taxes because it still boils down to what I said earlier, Femi, that when there is a system in place whereby even if a tax collector goes there to say, look,
But
from our records, you can brag that person,
but we're saying
give them $5,000 to close the books for you.
Yeah, but
this is the kind of problem that
we're suggesting that system needs to change. We can't keep on complaining and complaining. The system will change.
The system will change only if we have the right mechanism in place.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what we're discussing, and we're suggesting that we must put all these things in place to change. So, and whilst nothing lives in a vacuum. Whilst it's changing, people have to start paying.
You said the market woman, needs to pay her tax.
Yes.
How is she going to pay her tax?
She needs to pay her tax.
How is she going to pay her tax?
She needs to register online and pay her tax. She can ask her children to do it for her.
What if she doesn't have children?
She can ask her husband to do it for her. I mean, she can employ an accountant to do it for her. She can employ an accountant. Why not? That's the law. Are you telling her to be illegal? She should continue to be illegal? Come on, man. Even here in the UK, there are people who are dullards, so they still pay their taxes.
Right.
There are many people here that can't read and write. They still pay their taxes.
We're not comparing two different countries.
No, there are people who are self-employed.
Where we have there's a system that
works here. There is a system that
works here.
Nigerians,
which you cannot circumvent in any way, shape, or form.
No, you
can. If you do circumvent the system here,
and you're caught.
You're caught. Good. You know the ramifications.
So that's the point. Yeah. The point we're saying is, it's not that they don't have a black market economy in the UK.
Yes.
There is definitely people do drugs and other illegal things.
Absolutely.
And selling counterfeits and so on. There's lots of backhanded dealings, people selling adulterated petroleum products and so on and so forth. So, but the point is, they're minimized.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that's what's the problem in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the informal sector is maximized. It needs to change. And that takes time, and it also needs the buy-in of the people to say that, yes, we want to buy into it. And then it also takes the buy-in of those who are governing, and the people I call the evil servants, masquerading as civil servants. They are the ones that they're the ones that are putting the money in their largesse. The Egunje. You can't find. There are very few civil servants that don't have big bellies, that don't have more than 2 different sources of income going on everywhere, have houses all over the place. When you add up their earnings, it's not justified.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
They can't prove where all these funds came from.
Hello, welcome to the show. Enough is enough. Who's speaking?
Hello, this is Ade.
Yes, Ade.
From South.
From where?
From Southeast.
Oh, Southeast. Yeah, go on, Ade.
What is your take about the Fulani extent in Nigeria, killing people, and yet the government says not to do nothing about it?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I mean, this is not really a program about Fulani headsmen, but what I would say is that even Fulani headsmen should be registered to pay their taxes. That's what I was saying. If you are a cattle owner, you own cows, you should I in fact think that, you see, going on to this thing about creating Udua Republic, which I don't agree with, and all that kind of stuff, this is the time, really, for them to have a situation where state governments should be registering all cattle herders in their states.
Yes.
Just like we're saying Okada drivers and all these people. If you're having any profession, you must to be automatically registered.
And that is why we have this specific ministries to take care of all these things. I mean...
Look, if you're not registering them, that's a problem for me. Because one, when you register them, that also helps you with security, it helps you with data, it helps you with tax. You understand? And licensing and so on.
Sure.
So that must be essential and fundamental. If the laws don't exist, promulgate the laws ASAP and do it like yesterday.
Yes.
Every person, and you do it to be across the board, so it's not against herders. If you are engaged in any form of trade or any form of earnings whatsoever in our state, you must register for taxes.
Absolutely.
And if you're not registered, you're against the law, you can be prosecuted, you can be fined, and you can be imprisoned.
Absolutely.
And your goods can be confiscated.
Yeah.
The other thing I was talking about, the evil servants masqueraded as civil servants, when you see someone say something, when you see people who are working in the civil service, driving 2, 3, 4 cars, and you know they're on grade level X, Y, and Z, it can't be justified. You're not allowed to moonlight. You're not allowed to have a secondary job whilst you're a civil servant. If you're doing so, that's against the law. That person should be fired. make way for someone else to take that job. So many unemployed people.
Yeah, but
the point I'm trying to make is that when people are making these extra incomes, they're not declaring them. They're not paying taxes on them. That's against the law. Do you understand? I have no problem if the law allows you to moonlight. Declare it and pay the taxes. You understand? So these are the things that will not happen. If you receive gifts, you understand? Even those people who receive their gunja, they're supposed to declare that and pay taxes. No, it's very true. Because gifts are taxable. You understand? And this is part of the problem that we have in Nigeria. Because when these 419ers and these illegal politicians and the stinkily corrupt politicians want to hide their largesse, they will hide it in the form of it was a gift, it was an inheritance, it was a this, and it was a that. All those things are taxable. What you need to do is say, did you pay tax on that? You didn't? Okay, we didn't get you because you stole it, but we're going to get you because you didn't declare it and you didn't pay the taxes.
And another thing, Femi, which I think before we go, we need to highlight is most especially in the area of indirect tax as well. Under VAT, inheritance tax,
property tax,
and especially custom and excise. The government, needs to.
The government is making a lot of money from custom excise, but they can make more.
They can make more. But are we actually taking cognizance of how these funds are being managed? With goods coming into the country,
Well,
you see,
these are
laxities in the system.
Custom and excise records are out there, and the numbers, the revenues that they're generating is far more, is increasing exponentially than ever before. But what I say is that our problem, going back to the herdsmen, and a lot of them are supposedly coming in from the foreign countries. What I suggest that should happen is that we need, like in America and in the UK, a specific dedicated border force. We don't have one.
We don't have one.
Okay? So immigration is about checking people's immigration status. Customs is about goods and services coming in. Border control is a completely different matter. And I think that should... No, we do have quarantine. We do have quarantine.
Is it effective?
We do have quarantine control because I've had to subject myself when I came through semi-border to all that. I had a plethora of so many. You go through this one, go through that one, go through that one, and whilst you're driving down Badagry, you get stopped every 5 minutes. Ridiculous. You understand? When you should have been stopped at the border and dealt with everything. What I'm suggesting to you, there should be border patrols. There should be a border force whose job is to maintain our borders. And I think the fact that our legislators, I quit calling them that because they're not legislating, they're just looting, have not seen it fit to create a border force. So we put all the burden on the military. The military are the ones to sort out our borders. The militaries are to sort out bandits. The militaries are to support kidnappers. The militaries are to do herders. This is ridiculous. You understand? Criminality should be dealt with by the police. You don't have enough police, recruit more. You have only national police, then have state police. So that's the problem with police. So military should be focused against external aggression and terrorism and things like that, insurgency.
While the Navy and the Air Force take care of the sea and the air.
They're also dealing with those kind of external aggression and insurgencies. Border control, there should be a specific force whose job is to man the borders. That's their job. It's a simple thing. And the fact that we haven't got one in the 2021 is very alarming, especially with the incursions of all these people from the rest of ECOWAS and elsewhere causing havoc all over the nation. Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done urgently. It's been a pleasure having you today on this show of Mr. Obanleowo, on this show which has gone on for longer than we had anticipated. We want to thank all the guests for calling in. It's been a wonderful show. The show again was demanding something for nothing equals nothing. Pay your taxes. Everybody should pay your tax, and I advise you to go to the Federal Inland Revenue Service website at .gov.uk and .ng, firs.gov.ng, to find out about how to calculate your tax and where you need to pay your tax, and also link up with your state to pay the tax, because you pay tax if you're self-employed or if you're self-employed, you're not on PAYE,
Yeah.
you have to pay to your government where you reside, not where you're working.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's very important, so you can grow your state, because everybody wants to grow their state, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Rather than growing someone else's state. Okay, but then of course, it doesn't mean that because you're from, say, Kogi State and you live in Lagos, that you need to remit your taxes to Kogi State.
Kogi
No,
State, yeah.
it's where you reside, not where you come from.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's very important. So yeah, it's been a very good show, and I want to sign out now, and let me just say to you that don't be silent. I want to say that enough is enough. Please make sure you SORO SOKE. Don't be shy, don't be silent. If you see something, say something. If you can't take it anymore, say something. Do something for a better Niger, and it will not be by mouth alone. So if you want to have any sponsors or place any adverts, please contact the numbers on your screen. I'm your host again, FEMI OKE, the founder of Better Niger, signing out. See you same time next week when we will debate another topic for a better Nigeria. Over and out.